Good morning. I'm back with the final chapter of Who Could That Be at This Hour by Lemony Snicket. So the butler did it, asked Hector. It was his 12th birthday. If there are any readers of this account, and I have no reason to believe there are, I hope you do not spend your 12th birthday eating dusty peanuts in the lobby of the Lost Arms, with Prosper lost across the room keeping watch. Most people deserve a party. Hangfire wasn't really a butler, I told my associate, and he didn't really commit the crime. When his telegram to the Malahans went unanswered, he hired Dame Sally Murphy to pretend to be Mrs. Murphy Salis. He pretended to be her butler to keep an eye on her while she hired us to steal the abominating beast. Hector frowned thoughtfully. And Hangfire convinced the girl to try to steal it too? Yes, he told Ellington Faint that she would never see her father again if she didn't help him. She broke into Handkerchief Heights and tried to think of a way to steal the statue. But she got lucky when I fell into her life holding it. When the police knocked on the door, she wrapped up the statue in a bag of coffee to fool me into thinking I was mailing the abominating beast to Theodora at the Lost Arms. Ellington had the real statue and mailed it to herself at Black Cat Coffee, but I learned of the trickery and got there before she did. Then she switched it again, probably when I was sitting next to her in the Mitchum's station wagon, and ran off with it. And now we can't find her. Do you think she gave the statue to Hangfire? I don't know, I said. I hope not. It seems like an awful lot of work just to get a little statue, he said, particularly one nobody else was interested in. What does he want it for, anyway? I looked around the lobby of the Lost Arms. 3 days had passed, and they hadn't passed easily. I had spent my time asking these same questions myself, while I read in the library or sat at the counter of Black Cat Coffee, listening to the player piano and hoping Ellington Faint might walk in the door. A mystery is solved with a story, and the story starts with a clue. I had thought the clue was the abominating beast, but lately I'd been thinking that the clue was something else. I thought perhaps it was the young girl looking for her father, with nothing but a suitcase full of clothes and an old-fashioned record player with some tunes that wouldn't leave my head. I had no one to share any of these tunes or thoughts, at least until Hector dropped into town for the afternoon. I don't know, I told him. There's a mystery to the abominating beast and to Hangfire that I haven't solved yet. And how much of this is going into your official report, he asked me. Practically none of it, I replied. As far as my chaperone is concerned, the case is closed. I simply wrote that our client hired us to discreetly find a stolen item and that both the item and the client have disappeared. That's not going to look good on your permanent record, Snicket. I don't care about my permanent record, I said. I have a job to do. Hector sighed and leaned back against the dirty sofa. You're worrying everyone, Snicket. Monty's worried. Haruki's worried. This plan to choose the worst chaperone so you can secretly... I don't think that's any of your business, I said stiffly. Did you know that 2 other chaperones were thinking of drugging you so you'd miss your appointment? They tried, I told him. The Hemlock Tea Room and stationery shop seemed years ago. I bet you wish they'd succeeded. Then you'd be someone else's apprentice instead. Is Theodora as bad as they say? She's upstairs taking a nap, I said, and Hector looked at his watch and shook his head. He was quiet for a moment, and then with a quick and careful glance at Prosper Lost, took off his jacket and handed it to me. Sewn into the lining is the map of the city's waterworks, he said. Don't lose it. It was very difficult to get hold of. Thank you, Hector. I appreciate it. I can't see it doing you any good way out here, Hector said. It took me all day to get here from the city. This is a strange place, Snicket. Those strange inkwells, that shimmering forest of seaweed, the masks you need to wear if that bell rings. Something seems very wrong and stained by the sea. I bet there's not a single decent Mexican restaurant. There's a good library, I said, and a fine journalist and several interesting people. That's more than most places have. Don't get interested in that Ellington person, Hector said. She's a liar and a thief. She's just trying to help her father, I said, and I promised to help her. Hector sighed and stood up to leave. You're in a real fix, Snicket. Good luck. Will you be able to make your way back, I said. I know of a good taxi service. Thank you, but I have my own transportation. Another ballooning project, I asked him. Hector nodded. My chaperone has given me an assignment to take some aerial photographs of a distant part of the sea. Something suspicious has been spotted. So you're not going back to the city? Not for months, Hector said. Why? No reason, I said, and shrugged my shoulders. I felt the packet inside my own jacket. I had spent the better part of the morning sewing it into the lining. Sewing is a prickly and boring business. Ellington Faint, with her long, careful fingers, would have done a better job of it. But it would be some time before I saw her again, and right now there was no use in giving my jacket to Hector, who would not return to the city in time. Goodbye, Snicket, Hector said. Be careful. Please tell your replacement in the city that they'll have to take the long way round to the museum. If they tunnel into the wrong waterway, they'll both be drowned. There's no replacement, I said. So you're going to sneak out of town and join her? I shook my head. I'm stuck here and staying by the sea for the duration. Hector's eyes widened. You can't let her do this alone, he said, louder than he meant to say it. Prosper Lost blinked at us curiously and stepped out from behind his desk. What choice do I have? I whispered to Hector. She's not just your associate, Snicket, he whispered back, putting on his hat. She's your sister. I know that, I said sharply, but he scowled and shook his head and went out the door. I know she's my sister, I wanted to shout after him. Do you think I don't know that? Do you think I don't know I'm putting my own sister in danger? Happy birthday, I said instead. But Hector didn't stop. It is possible that he was walking even faster. By now, Prosper Lost was standing right beside me, and we both watched Hector disappear down the dark street. Fight with your friend? Prosper Lost asked me, as if it were his business. It wasn't a fight, I said. I just said the wrong thing. Lost gave me one of his thin smiles. Everybody does something wrong at one time or another. It was true. Everybody does something wrong at one time or another. It was true, but I didn't like it. I nodded at him and turned away. The statue of the woman looked like she wanted to give me a shrug. If only she had arms. I shrugged back and thought about the other statue, the abominating beast, and the villain who wanted to get hold of it. I thought of the fading town and the vanished sea. I thought of Ellington's green eyes and the question mark eyebrows that hovered over them. It wasn't just one time or another. I had been wrong over and over and over again. Wrong every time about every clue to the dark and inky mystery hanging over me and everybody else. It rang like a bell in my head. Wrong, wrong, wrong. I was wrong, I thought. But maybe if I stayed in this town long enough, I could make everything right. And that is the end of the book. There are 2 more books in this series. Trying to see. Oh, and here's, I believe at the end here, this is a picture of Lemonie's sister at the fountain that they talked about, that they were going to dig underneath. So that's probably his sister. I will have to look and see what the next book is in the series. I know there's 3 books in this prequel series. So I will post that on our Google Classroom. So I'll talk to you later. Bye.